Welcome back, mere mortalites. Today I have for you the learnings of Lives of the Stoics by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. I've done the book review previously already on this book, but today I'm going to be talking about the learnings, the juicy information that really called out to me that I was like, you know what? This is stuff that I really took away, or it was quite of interest to me. I want to play it back to people. It's the way that I note take or summarize it in my mind. If it helps out mere mortalites out there, amazing. If you've got other ideas around it, let me know. But let's crack on because I've got 10 items here that I've noted down. So the first one, and it comes from the chapter, I'm going to have to just tell you the philosopher because I can't remember what, it doesn't actually give you the detail on the adjective that's attached. This is in the Cleanthes chapter. So this is, curiously, what survived directly from Cleanthes' writings are largely his poetical fragments. They are filled with beautiful lines that give us glimpses into his unique combination of determination and acceptance. Fate guides the man who's willing, he writes in one short fragment, drags the unwilling. So one aspect of that is I like the way that it was stated, but two, it applies really phenomenally to this right now that I'm doing once again, this particular book review and learning. So for me, generally, I guess I would say that I'd be a willing participant in creating a lot of these things. As of late, there's just been a lot of stuff going on in my life. And so fate probably hasn't been guiding me because I haven't been willing to actually put together and do this book review or the learnings. Now, push comes to shove. We've got to get these out because particular timelines where my co-host Karen is away. And so I need to put something together so it continues on this sort of weekly cadence that we've got in the content for book reviews. And so it's a little bit of, hey, I'm being dragged unwillingly to a point. This is actually to be a bit meta. The second time I'm recording this, the first one I did it, didn't enjoy it, wasn't doing the right thing, needed to be in the right state of mind. So it's really, I'm being dragged unwillingly almost to be doing this particular review. However, I know a time when I am willing and it does feel like I'm being guided. Now, apply that to a whole host of different things. Try to find yourself in being a willing character or a willing participant in a lot of the things. The second one that I noted down here, this was in, Yep. So one that I've got here is in the Posidonius section. So from this, he was able to pass along insights that were just as valuable as his scientific ones. Be wary of ambition. Avoid the mob. Luxury as much as power rots. From Seneca, we get Posidonius' final judgment on Marius. Marius commanded armies, but ambition commanded Marius. Take a paraphrase, when such men as these were disturbing the world, they were themselves disturbed. What do you command out there, folks? What do you look after? And what is it that commands you? For me, do I command anything in particular? Nothing large, not armies. Look after some individuals in different contexts. But what commands me? It's a good thing to think about. I could probably note a few in my mind, but not enough that I've thought them through. So what is it that commands you to do things? What is perhaps setting you in are you doing disturbing things? And so perhaps are you disturbed yourself? The third one, this is in the Diotimus chapter. Diotimus. This is the mistake we make. We fight fire with fire and end up burning ourselves. Nobody remembers who started it, and our scars stay forever, even if we manage to survive the conflagration. When we are angry, it's almost always better to wait and do nothing. And as far as our enemies go, if possible, we ought to let them destroy themselves. Now that's the bit, as I wanted to underline and talk about, is as a key learning point, letting other people destroy themselves is probably going to be the easiest course of action when they're not acting in the, let's just say, the right intent for the world, whatever the right intent for the world that might be, or the right intent for whatever action that you're thinking about. When we're angry, it's almost always better to wait and do nothing. I guess like the karmic thinking that if someone has grieved you and it's made you angry, that perhaps just letting that pass and letting the world get back to them in some shape is going to be a better thing than you yourself trying to find that quote unquote revenge of doing something. But easier said than done, that. But try and let them destroy themselves if you can. All right, the fourth one that I've got up here, this is in the Cicero section. Only more experienced, but almost another man. The excessive strain of voice had gone. My style had, so to speak, simmered down. My lungs were stronger and I was not so thin. Notice he lists only attributes and not convictions. That is a critical question of nearly everything Cicero did, as it is for so many talented and ambitious people. So you? Were their motivations sincere, or was it all part of some plan? Are they training or resume building? Are they training or resume building? And this is, again, that's a highlighted piece there for me. Are you doing things that are training or actually taking the convictions to do something that's going to improve the reps that it takes to go and do some sort of video or podcast or interaction, the reps and the training that you need to become better, obviously at the gym, the bench pressing, the squatting, the deadlifting, the Olympic lifting, whatever it may be? Or are you simply doing them in the aspect of resume building? Are you doing it just to add to the list of, oh yeah, look at this big long list of things that I can do? Not, I guess, and this is the interesting piece. I guess you could be doing it for, it could become both, but it's the intent for training that I think can be the more valuable. And in the end, that is a more valuable one. The resume building is the adjacent benefit of going ahead and doing the training, but shouldn't be the whole focus of it at all. The next one, in the Athenodorus Canaanites. Man, I'm going to butcher some names here. The reason I noted this one was just it was an interesting call. It's a little bit previously, so it's talking about this individual, and we get a sense of Athenodorus' teaching style and his calm, stoic demeanor. So we're talking about here calmness. Not to be disturbed from his writing session, Athenodorus motioned for the ghost to wait and return to his work. When he finished, he got up and followed the apparition into the courtyard, where it suddenly vanished, etc., etc. Continues the story. But I kind of highlighted it, and because whether true or not, I guess it's the stoic demeanor of calmness. And I was going through a piece, and I still am now, of trying to be more calm than I am frantic, and that was just a pretty interesting or spectacular call out of, a ghost might appear while I'm doing this podcast or I'm working or I'm with my family, and kind of just shooing them away and going, hey, just wait a second, I'm dealing with some other things. But again, what other things are you particular? What's the ghost that's coming up and pulling you away from the things that you're doing? The next note that I've got here is in the Seneca section. This part of Seneca, his earnest commitment to self-improvement. See that you don't do that again, he would say to himself, but now I forgive you. That's cool piece, something that I'm picking up as well in the meditations currently by Marcus Aurelius, just from Stoicism, kind of really reviewing and seeing exactly what you actually, when you note it down, when you're journaling, like I do, I journal quite a bit, on a daily basis, and noting to yourself, right, asking to yourself, see that you don't do that again, something that you didn't, that wasn't great for you to do, but now I forgive you, aka forgiving your internal self, forgiving your past self, in that you've got to go through those learnings, just so that you don't do that again. I just liked how brutal, honest that particular line was. The next one, in the Musonius Rufus, he believed the praise and applause were wastes of time for both the audience and the philosopher. When a philosopher, he said, is exhorting, persuading, rebuking, or discussing some aspect of philosophy, if the audience pour forth trite and commonplace words of praise in their enthusiasm and unrestrained, if they even shout, if they gesticulate, if they are moved and aroused and swayed by the charm of his words, by the rhythm of his phrases, and by certain rhetorical repetitions, then you may know that both the speaker and his audience are wasting their time. They're not hearing a philosopher speaking, but a flute player performing. So to Musonius, a sign of a successful philosopher was not the loud cheering of supporters, it was the silence. It was the aspect of them paying attention and listening and learning and really thinking it through in a deep sense. So when you're doing something, like what I'm doing right now, am I trying to be the flute player? Am I performing and trying to give you a bit of a entertainment, part of that? Definitely yes. But another aspect of it I do want to, and sometimes I don't do that well, sometimes I do it well, which is try to speak to more effective philosophy, I guess you could call it, that it is interesting and perhaps isn't, the outcome is not for you to be overjoyed or be partying with me or be entertained. It might be to leave us with some deeper thinking, whether it's now or in the future. The next one that I highlighted, this was in the Epictetus section. So Epictetus used to say that there were two faults which were by far the worst and most disgusting of all. Lack of endurance and lack of self-restraint. And then beyond that quote, persist and resist. Disgusting. Lack of endurance and lack of self-restraint. Two very clear things to persist and resist. Very clear. Lack of endurance, just doing things over and over and over and over to the point that, for a lot of success, it is just the fact that you have to endure. You have to keep going. You have to be present. You have to be showing up, even if it doesn't feel right, even if you don't want to do it, even if you're being dragged unwillingly by fate. You have to have the endurance to keep on going. And two, the lack of self-restraint, because if you don't have self-restraint, then you'll just find yourself saying, I'm just going to scroll on this page one more time. I'm going to go through TikTok for another half an hour before it's 11 p.m. And there goes your sleep. There goes your good eating. There goes the habits that form part of becoming a greater self. And the last note that I've got here, still within the Epictetus section, was action. If this practical bent put him at odds with other Stoics, so be it. What is the work of virtue, he asked. A well-flowing life? Who then is making progress? The person who has read the many works of Chrysippus? What is virtue? Nothing more than that, to have attained a great knowledge of Chrysippus? Action was what mattered. Not reading, not memorization, not even publishing impressive writings of your own. Only working towards being a better person, a better thinker, a better citizen. And I think that, as a final note for, some of the notes that I took down, was the important thing, and I guess Stoicism is really key for this, it's in the deeds over words. What does it matter? And to an extent, it is important. It is important to know of things, to be wiser, to have more information and the knowledge. But if it doesn't translate into action or the doing, then it's valuable, but it could have been more valuable. I'm not going to say that it was not worth it. It's good, but you're missing the great. The great is in the action. It's in the deeds over words. So those are the many learning points or interesting quotes or quips that I pulled out from Lives of the Stoics by Ryan Holiday. Is there any others that you pulled out that you've read before and you go, hey, that's pretty interesting? Is there ways that I could update or shift the way that I'm doing the learnings for these books that you might enjoy? Let me know. Immortalize all of that because it does help out in the way that we're producing this content for you. Do it through our Discord. Do it through the chats, whether it's on YouTube or in the many ways that you can reach out. Boostergrams are probably the perfect way. You can send through Satoshis with a message attached. We read them on a weekly basis with myself and Karen, my co-host for the Mere Mortals, so we can quite directly respond to that. But in any other case, for now, Mere Mortals, I'm going to leave it there for the Lives of the Stoics learnings. Be well wherever you are in the world. One out.